right, so Saturday morning coffee rant with Dan. So, very recently, I talked to a order follower from the Air Force, and he seemed like he's halfway there, and he still may be. But I have two takeaways from it. One, when we started talking about conspiracies and different things, he sounded really, really, really convincing in some of the things he was, testing me on. And I found out later because I looked him up, which is open source. You can find out a lot about people. Just check on social media. Overall, probably not a bad guy. But some of the things he was saying, he was testing me. I know he was testing me now. So he talked about the election being, rigged in 2016 to get Trump in office, and he should have never been in office. And I'm like, yeah, I'm down with that. I believe that. I think they're all rigged. I don't vote. And so that, like, maybe he was thinking I was a Trumper. Then he said some really, a little bit later on, really racist things that I was a little taken back by. And again, that's another test. I now know he was testing the waters, and he was able to see that I wasn't down with that. I'm not a racist. Okay. I'm also not violent. He was able to see that with some of the things he was saying. And I'm surprised certain things haven't happened, but I most certainly am not a violent person. So all these little things. Once he's seen that, he had said something about the books that I wanted him to read prior to that when we were talking. And after these tests that came, that I now know are tests, I came from that fucking world. So, but I was taken back myself on how I bought into what he was saying as being really sincere. But after he's seen I wasn't any of those things. I wasn't some Trumper. I wasn't some racist. I wasn't some whatever. He had what seemed like a genuine interest in those books, so he gave me his phone number. I never texted him or anything because, then people have your phone number. And I'm not sure I wanted him to have my phone number. Hopefully he looks up the book, or several of the books. Because he said a few things. Now, of course, he outright lied. He said he doesn't vote anymore, but he's got a big long thing about Tucker Carlson that I seen, and that would explain the look that he kind of gave me when I told him I don't care if Tucker Carlson's drinking a Bud Light. So I had a couple takeaways from it. Takeaway number one is I do have a moral obligation to talk to order followers and try to, get them to see what's going on in the world and come over to the other side and really be one of the good guys for real and really uphold the oath to protect and serve. Again, protecting the constitutions, enforcing the law, all this other stuff, that's the thing that so many politicians are good at obfuscating and operating in that gray area that just confuses the fuck out of order followers. And they're everyone's convinced they're the good guys. And it's real simple. If you're not following natural law and you're, bringing harm to others in any kind of way, initiating harm, and to people who aren't initiating violence to you, you're not one of the good guys. You actually are one of the bad guys. And that's besides the fact that all militaries and all police uphold the moral systems. There is already a one world government. We've seen that in 2020 with all the lockdowns. Now, at the end of the conversation, we've seen I was probably a true neutral person, and he probably considered me to be a libertarian. He seemed like he wanted to, really look into the books then maybe. So that's a good takeaway, okay, that maybe he really wants to. But the other takeaway is be very careful who you talk to and what you tell people, because he lied straight to my face about a lot of things. And oh shit, he sells life insurance. So that tells you one thing. He could probably be a really good undercover cop. It's I was really taken back by it, and I shouldn't be. I really shouldn't be. But these people are sociopaths. They will hook you in. They're like narcissistic sociopaths, psychos. And their ability to lie to you and have you believing everything they're saying is fucking scary. Okay, so just be real careful about who you believe, who you give information to. There's this thing called, it was the Ōnin War, Japanese ran, and it was in the 14th century, and things were so chaotic during that time frame that nobody knew who was on whose side. It was a bunch of double agent, secret agent bullshit, and people were constantly switching sides. So it was a very chaotic time known as Japanese ran. And I really feel like, that's my dog barking, I really feel like we are in sort of a Japanese ran situation now. Now, there was some legitimate interest that this dude had. Was that interest to further his career and think that he had some guy who was a domestic terrorist? No, I'm not a Trumper, he's seen that. No, I'm not violent, he's seen that. No, I'm not a racist, but he sounded so sincere with the racist shit he said. And he's obviously not. I checked him out. So it just reminded me, be careful of who you talk to. All these people got a lot of training, and I know the training. We were both playing games with each other, both testing out each other as we were talking, but he did seem legitimately interested in these books after he's seen I wasn't any of those things. But that still means he's very political. And we have to get people to see that politics isn't the answer. Voting harder isn't the answer to the problem we have. And just be careful with all the untruths that are happening out there. I almost got sucked in. I just mean sucked in by really believing this guy, because I wanted to try to work with him not to be a racist, but he's not. He really sounded fucking sincere, so I was just like, well, he kind of almost got me, man. But anyway, I figured I'd throw this out there and just put this out into the collective. I hope he does read the books, and I hope he starts to, wow, there is a group of people who maybe it'll wake him up the rest of the way. He seemed like he was halfway there. But he was able to lie in a scary, scary fucking sociopathic manner, man. That only people with training can do. And only people with experience can do. And again, I don't know what kind of schools this dude's been in the Air Force. In the military can put you through a lot of different training, especially the Air Force. They've got a lot of high-tech classes in the Air Force. And who knows what he did in the Air Force. They've got one of the best military police schools out of all of the military police in the military. So who knows what type of shit this guy's training he's had. He could be right on par with the kind of training I had as a cop, or even more so. And if you're a life insurance salesman, you're probably pretty fucking good at it's like being a car salesman as far as I can see. But anyways, I still feel like there's an obligation to talk to any order follower who will listen. But be careful when they're trying to suck you into saying something violent, or suck you into saying anything that you really don't believe, or saying anything, if I would have agreed with him on something just to try to, find common ground, to continue trying to talk to him about certain things and what's really actually happening in the world, I would have misrepresented myself. So when he said what he said, racist, he could tell I was genuinely taken back by it and didn't agree. People are programmable and products of our environment. So, it bugged me. But with everything else I'm seeing in the big picture, with a lot of fucking things actually, these people that are doing this in this world are very thorough, and it's fucking scary how thorough they are. So really keep your eyes open, really be careful, really pay attention to dates, really pay attention to all this stuff, because we are dealing with Japanese yen, is what it feels like anyway. But this is my little quick Saturday morning thing. I've got some training to do later on. I'm going to live in the moment and have fun as much as I can. And my message is be careful. There's people out there who, they are sociopathic fucking liars. And they're not your normal predators that you think they are. They're people that you think wouldn't be, that the average person would think wouldn't be. Okay? I know better. But anyway, till my next time, man, to my next Tag Chat, peace out. I'm hoping and praying that maybe he does look at the books I told him to look at and understand some things. All right, man.